Hello, everybody. We are on episode 5 of Dawg, Rant in the month. And sorry it's a little late. It's going to be posted right at the end of the month here. And today's episode is going to be about coping with anxiety. And I'll just say anxiety is a tough thing that you have to deal with. No one loves going through it, but unfortunately, a lot of people do go through it. And there's ways to cope with it. But before I tell you these ways and advice and you know how it goes, I'm going to get into my story behind anxiety. So about last March, not this past, the March before that, I started I was on register at my job and I was doing fine on register. I started the register a long time before that. And so I was on register for months, no problems. But then all of a sudden, one day, I basically felt like I needed to pass out. For a second, I was just dehydrated and stuff. And so I just had a moment and then went back. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. And it didn't really happen a little bit after that. But then a while later, it happened again. And that's where I got really scared that it was going to keep happening. So basically, what was happening, every time I went on register in the future after that pass out feeling, I would shake, I would again sweat and things like that. And I just couldn't deal with register. I was spacing out. It was just tunnel vision type stuff where I was seeing two things. It was just a whole bunch of that kind of stuff. And this went on from March all the way through May and April, so they had to take me off register a couple times. A good amount of the time, not good, but a couple times I had to step away and had someone finish my job, and it was just a little panic / anxiety attack, I would call it. Oh, my mom's home. I'll just tell him not to come in. But anyway, yeah, so it was a big anxiety attack, and I just couldn't get back. I was just too scared to go back on. It was shivering and just all that kind of stuff. Kind of like a panic attack, I guess you could say, or anxiety attack, I guess you would call it. And I've talked to my manager about it, and, she didn't like to see it, but she knows, she understood, and she let me just do my other position, which is carts for the meantime, and didn't put me on register as much. And so I couldn't do long shifts either. That was a problem, because they were a lot. It was a lot for me, especially. So I had to shorten down my register shifts. And so eventually, one time it did happen again. I had another one of those space outs, and I was just really upset and anxious and a lot of emotions where then my manager came into the break room and said, I think we got to change your department because this keeps happening. We don't want this to keep happening. So that's what happened. They switched my department, and I went over to the frozen department and did not go back on register. Sorry, my mom walked in. So anyway, so I did not go back on register, and ever since June of last year, I've done frozen. It's almost going to be a year. I've done it all throughout the summer. I did frozen and carts still. And then all throughout this past school year when I worked on weekends and school days. It's pretty much been majority of the time frozen and some carts thrown in there. So that's pretty much, how it went. And it just was a tough time for me. I don't know what the issue was. And let me just fix the camera. I have the TV on in the background. Whatever. You guys can watch a little bit of the game if you want. Half of the game. Anyway, so I went through a lot, It was really tough. And my parents didn't like me seeing me go through this. And they're like, what is the issue? What could be causing it? And I kept telling them it was the fear of going back on and having the dizzy pass out feeling. And throughout all of that, that's what my main fear was. And it was hard to overcome. And I had anxiety in other places too during that time. I was going to a autograph signing with my uncle, cousin, and brother. And that day, I just had fear going to places, and I had neck pain, and that neck pain was causing a lot of stress, and I was shaking. I was just feeling just all sorts of weird stuff that we had to leave the event early because I just was feeling so much weirdness and just in certain areas, and just a lot of tension and stuff was built up, and it was all stress. Whatever it was, I got through it. That was the good part. And I don't. It couldn't have been a fear of crowds, because the next day I went to a Devils game and Devils Islanders, and I kind of felt the same way. But it was all just like a weird stuff. Like in crowds, I'm not bad now. I don't have anxiety, and I don't think it had to be with crowds. And back to register, a lot of my family that I've talked about were thinking it's because of the long lines and how stressful it was that people are waiting. And so yeah, and that was a little bit of the part of it, and that's what my therapist and psychiatrist were trying to figure out and try to help me cope with. So that's pretty much what I did. And it was tough, but, you got to fight through things. And it went away after like 3 months, and I was back to my old self. As soon as I went back to the Frozen, the whole anxiety of it went away. Which I was very pleased and satisfied and thankful that it went away. Now, recently, in the last month, they called me over to do register 2 different times. So I was a little scared to do it. I went on. I didn't feel anything. I felt normal. I was doing my job without worrying. And so I just put in my availability for the summer, because I'm going after this week. I'll be on spring break, even though it's only summer break, even though it's only the spring, because college, semesters get out early. Anyway, I told her that I could do like maybe 4 hours of register here and there, and she said she will put me on if need be. So I want to challenge myself, and I want to make sure that I can handle a full shift on register, and if so, then I know that I definitely got over this anxiety, and it was just this crazy time. Now, if I keep feeling it, then I'll have to eventually get taken off again. But let's pray that doesn't happen, and I'm confident that it won't happen. So, yeah, that's pretty much my whole story on it. And so, now we get into the message or theme, message of the video. And really, the main thing is, if you're feeling anxious, do breathing exercises and do all that kind of stuff. But you can't let the anxiety get to you, because you got to know that it's going to be over soon. So really, anxiety comes and goes, but you can never let it affect you in the long run, because there's so many other better things that you can worry about. And when you worry about those other things, it gets the anxiety away. And when you focus on the good things in life, anxiety is not going to kick in. But if you start to stress and panic over things that are bombarding you in your life, it's going to cause more and more anxiety. So you got to not dwell on that so much. And like when you focus on it, basically you get through it, you push through it, And when you finally are through it, when you're done with that anxious or stressful thing, be relieved. And when you're relieved, you'll feel less anxious, of course. And relief is a big part of life. When you feel relieved in life, you feel you got a big, off your shoulder, whatever that term is, off your shoulder or off your back, and that's what you have to feel. You have to feel relieved. And when you feel relieved, the anxiety will go away, and you'll feel happy and poised, calm. All those different emotions will tie in if you don't let the you don't let the thing that's causing your anxiety and stress bother you, and you drown it out, basically. So again, we all have gone through anxiety, I'm sure, in life, and some people experience it worse and some people experience it less than others. Everyone's different in their own way with that kind of stuff. So again, it's how you as a person handle it will be the best way of keeping you from getting more of it, and instead lifting it away and hopefully getting it fully gone and relieved. So yeah, that's basically that, and I think that's all I wanted to talk about. As you saw, I uploaded some movie reviews. That's my next little series I'm doing, and I'm still working on getting some covers out, and hopefully I could film a lot more now, since I am, after this week, I'll be done with finals And in 2 weeks, I'll be on my break, and I'll have all of May, all of June, all of July, all of August. And I'm going to be working a lot of it. But the good thing is I'll probably be working more during the day or whenever. And I won't be working every day, you know? So let's make this the summer of Dawg, where hopefully we can upload and get stuff out for you guys. Because I want this channel to keep growing. And you guys may think it's dying, and I kind of think that, but we got to grow it more. And I know I'm 19, I got a lot of responsibilities, and if I keep putting out content, I'll make sure it happens. I'll make sure that we can keep growing this channel. I'm at 512 subscribers, you know. I got a long way to 1,000 before I hopefully can apply for ads and make that moolah. But honestly, let's just see what this summer has for us. Maybe some vlogs, maybe some different kinds of reviews and different kinds of everything. I have a video still that I'm working on that I haven't got to editing yet. So a lot coming for you guys. Stay tuned. And yep, I love you all. You guys have a good one. Stay well. Peace out.